2025, and we'll be carrying on our Raya Ramananda samvada reading. But we'll have a kirtan first, and then we'll carry on. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Gokula Tarani Mandala Magite. Gokula Tarani Mandala Magite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Jaya Madhava Jayate. O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Namadara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Brinda Vipineshe. 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 O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Vrishabhanu Dhari Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake. Vrishabhanu Dhari Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake. Vrishabhanu Dhari Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake. Vrishabhanu Dhari Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake. O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Karanam Karumayi Karanam Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Bhanita Charite. Karanam Karumayi Karanam Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Bhanita Charite. Karanam Karumayi Karanam Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Bhanita Charite. Karumayi Karanam Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Bhanita Charite. O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. 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 Gokula Tarani Mandala Mahite. Gokula Tarani Mandala Mahite. Gokula Tarani Mandala Mahite. Gokula Tarani Mandala Mahite. O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Radhe Jaya Madhava Jayate. O Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Jai Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Shri Radhe. Radhe 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 Radhe. Oh, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Oh Jaya Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhava Gagari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Vrishabhana Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai. Nityananda Rai Ki Jai. Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimad. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astautar Sarashishimat Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Bharantaracharya Ki Jai. Jai Rasik Siddhamani Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shri Bhata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Dasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Arupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shnapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Priya Swarupe Daita Swarupe Prema Swarupe Sahaja Virupe Nijana Rupe Prabhueka Rupe Tatana Rupe Swavilasa Rupe Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuruna Vartino Kalo Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Tutikatam Satipita Sada Hridare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Prabhajantamana Petyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Benedustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatosmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarabindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bhadram Tato Mamanasti Gatina Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvam nayamam charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sadashishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And then again, I'm offering the same millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nityalila Pravishta Om, Astotar Sadashishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And the same again to our dearmost Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. And to our Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Lavansha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, coming to our subject matter of Raya Ramananda samvada. And yesterday we began the conjugal ras, or we can say kanta ras, Sringara ras. We were discussing that Sakya, and Dasya, and Vatsalya, they're all in Madhurya. So we can't just say this is Madhurya ras between the gopis. Here it's called kanta ras, which we don't usually refer to as kanta ras, but certainly Sringara ras is explicitly the ras between the gopis and Krishna. So we've been discussing many aspects of the gradation of the prem, because this is how we can understand and appreciate the topmost prem. Mahaprabhu has asked, what is the topmost prem? He wants to go to the topmost. So we've systematically been working through the different various rasas. So now we come to page 98, and we'll just repeat the verse from yesterday, 8, 85 and 88.
Purva purva rasera guna pare pare hoy ekadui ganena pancha paryanta badai gunadikya swadadikya bade pratirase shanta dasya sakya vatsalyera guna madhurete vaishe akashadira guna yena para para bhute Duitina ganena bade pancha prithvite paripurna Krishna prapti ye prema haite ye premera vasha Krishna kahe bhagavate.
Thank you, Guru. There is a gradual increase in transcendental mellows from the first rasa onwards. Each subsequent mellow possesses the qualities of the previous ones. Thus, 2 qualities are found in the second ras, 3 in the third, and finally 5 in the fifth. As the number of qualities increases, also the taste increases in each subsequent mellow. Therefore, the qualities found in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, and Vatsalya ras all manifest in Madhurya ras. Thus, there is a nice example that illustrates this. The number of qualities in each of the 5 material elements, sky, air, fire, water, and earth, gradually increase one by one until finally, in the 5th element, earth, all 5 qualities are fully present. Thus, because all the qualities of the previous 4 rasas are present in Kantaprem, it is considered to be the most excellent of all. Actually, this Kantaprem completely controls Krishna, as Srimad Bhagavatam testifies. That's called Samartha Rati. That Samartha Rati of the gopis totally controls Krishna. But all the other residents of Braj also control Krishna. Certainly Mother Yashoda, she binds Krishna. Baladev Prabhu, he will sometimes chastise Krishna. He's the elder brother. And the Sakas, they will sometimes contradict Krishna. And the Gopas in particular, they will always be of a protective, maintaining mood. To this essential distinction between Braja Prem and Dwarka, Mathura, Ayodhya, etc. is so important to appreciate and understand. Then we're beginning to enter Braj. The gift of Mahaprabhu was Braja Ras. So how to enter this Braja Ras without respecting it sufficiently in comparison to all the other rasas. So these are the subjects that we're hearing about now. The 5 material elements are sky, air, fire, water, and earth. This is the commentary by my Gurudev. From these come the 5 corresponding sensory qualities, subtle qualities. Sound, touch, form, taste, and fragrance. We call them subtle because they're subtle. Sky, ether, possesses the single quality of sound. 2 qualities, sound and touch, are present in the element of fire. Fire contains sound, touch, and form. Water possesses 4 qualities, sound, touch, form, and taste. All 5 qualities, sound, touch, form, taste, and fragrance, exist in the element earth. The element earth is the most gross, and it's going up to the most subtle, which is sound vibration. Just as sky, air, etc. are present in the element earth, simultaneously with its own natural quality of fragrance. Similarly, Kantabhav possesses the qualities of the other 4 rasas, starting with Shantaras, but it has the additional quality of utilizing all the bodily limbs in the service of Sri Krishna. Nijanga. Anga means limb. Niya means all the limbs in this case. Therefore, Krishna Prem has arisen most completely in Madhurya Ras, because this Prem, which is blossoming with Ras, accords the use of the entire body in service. Only this Ras provides the possibility of bringing Krishna completely under control. Vatsalya will bring Krishna under control to some degree. And then Krishna will escape his mother's clutches, for example, and his brother's clutches, and go to Kaliya Krada, where he chastised Kaliya. Baladev told him that day. Baladev couldn't come out that day. He told him specifically, don't go to Kaliya Krida. So what did Krishna do? As soon as he got out the door with the cows, he went straight to Kaliya Krida. So Krishna breaks these boundaries. But with the gopis, he doesn't break those boundaries in the same way. He's more controlled by the gopis. That's Samartarati. Kantabhav includes all the services performed by the associates of Krishna. This is all the associates who act as his servants, friends, and parents. This is what I said before. Madhurya consists of all the prem in Braj itself. The Krishna Nishta, resolute steadfastness in Krishna of Shanta, the service mentality of Dasya, the intimate service of Sakya, and the pervasive desire in Vatsalya for Krishna's auspiciousness and for his maintenance and the well-being of he who is subordinate to Prem. All of these qualities are included in Madhurya Ras, or we can say Kanta Ras. Furthermore, there is one more quality, offering one's entire body in the service of Sri Krishna, which is exclusively available in Madhurya Ras. The love-struck Brajagopis, who are the heroines of this Kantabhav, have distanced themselves from material desires and even their own family members, having completely renounced body, home, and dear friends as if insignificant as dry grass. So this is their greatness. How can they control Krishna if they have some desire or connection with this material world? They can't. So we'll carry on.
Yes. 889. Mai bhaktir hi bhutanam amritatvaya kalpate dishtya yadasin mat sneho bhavatinam mat apanaha.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 82, 44. This is when the gopis and the Brijbasis, they visit Kurukshetra. This is the 82nd chapter of the 10th canto. O gopis of Braj, devotional service to me bestows immortality, bestows immortality upon all living entities. But it is a matter of great fortune and joy that you nurture intense affection for me, as this is the means to attain me. So Krishna is speaking like this when the gopis are in his presence at Kurukshetra. A discussion of the gopis' pain of separation is found in the account of the meeting at Kurukshetra. Sri Krishna glorifies them, declaring them to be supremely fortunate, since this counter-prem is the only means by which he can be completely controlled. The prem of the other rasas is not able to do so, not able to do this.
890 Krishnera pratigna drida sarvakale ache ye eche bhaje Krishna tar bhaje tache.
Sri Krishna has taken a solemn oath that for all eternity he will reciprocate accordingly with the manner in which one serves him. For all eternity, however we choose to serve the Lord. This is a wonderful, wonderful verse. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita 4:11, he is also mentioned.
Ye etamam prapadyante tam stataiva pajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha.
O Partha, in whichever way a person renders service to me, I serve him in that very same way. Everyone follows my path in all respects. The worshipful Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said in his commentary on this verse that whatever a person desires as the fruit of their worship of the Lord, Bhagavan in return awards the result accordingly. The sadhak of Shuddha Bhakti worships Bhagavan only to achieve eternal service to the transcendental form of the Lord, and the Lord rewards his loving devotee according to his desire by making him his eternal associate and giving him eternal love-filled service to Bhagavan. Bhagavan fulfills the desires of the impersonalists by bestowing upon them liberation or nirvishesh nirvana, whereupon they enter into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. As the supreme controller, the Lord bestows the material fruits desired by the reward-seeking workers, the Sakam Kama Bhaktas. And in the same manner, he bestows opulence or liberation upon the yogis, mystic cities, etc. Of all these various attainments, service to Sri Brajendranandan, Sri Krishna in Golok, Vrindavan, is the best. So there is gradation when we look like this. Thus we should understand from the commentary to this Bhagavad Gita verse that the fruit of each individual's worship is not identical. Depending on the type of bhajan one performs, the fruit received is indeed in accordance with one's desires. So this is important for us to appreciate, that it's never all one, as we've spoken before. This is really opening out the absolute variegated nature of the Lord, the variety of the Lord himself and of all the living entities. All are individual. So we've said this repeatedly, because this is what the text is lending. This is what the commentaries are lending. Some learned persons have interpreted the phrase Manusya Partha Sarvashaha in this verse to mean that no matter what form one's worship takes, since all are on the path of worshipping Bhagavan, the Lord will give the same result to all. So many religions say this. So many philosophers are saying that. This conception is completely erroneous. Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures have thoroughly refuted the foolish theory that the deluded materialists, kamis, the speculators, gyanis, and the pure devotees, premi bhaktas, will ultimately arrive at the same destination. Wouldn't that be really boring, so to speak, for Krishna? Tedious.
Like for example, the famous all rivers lead to the ocean.
All rivers lead to the ocean. Yes, this is the analogy that they always use. So we're performing our devotional service and we think that everything is going to lead into that single place. But here, the variety is being emphasized so many times, so many pages we're hearing this. So we'll arrive at the same destination. Further on, Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9:25 states,
Yanti deva vrata devan pitran yanti pitru vrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhya jinopimam.
those who worship the demigods will go to the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will come to me. In the above-mentioned verse, Bhagavan says, with whatever mood one surrenders to me, I reciprocate in a like manner. Factually, it is me alone whom everyone is worshipping. Truly, I am the topmost and only valid goal of all conceptions. But not the practitioners don't all reach the same conclusion. The pure devotees receive the ultimate bliss of eternal service to my transcendental person in the supreme abode. The impersonalists destroy their very selves through the attainment of nirvana mukti, liberation characterized by the cessation of material existence, in impersonal Brahman effulgence. For the Sunyavadis, voidists, I manifest myself as emptiness and nullify their very existence as well. For the gross materialist attached to manna, I cover their soul and make their consciousnesses like dull matter, and they attain me in the form of matter. In the yogi, in the form of matter, that means the form of a material body. Someone started to make a comment, but it went down too quickly. I manifest myself as the Supreme Lord and offer them all types of opulences in the form of various yogic perfections and liberation. That's in the yogi's case. According to the various types of faith, I sometimes give them birth in a perishable body. In this way, I manifest myself as everything, and it is only I who am attained by all these different practitioners. However, one should understand that out of all these attainments, service to me is supreme. Certainly the many paths followed by humanity all lead exclusively to me. So unless that ingredient of bhakti, devotion, is actually put in the sakamas, like Dhruva Maharaj was practicing sakam. He wanted a position higher than his great-grandfather, higher than even Lord Brahma. He desired that. So he had that, but he had to perform bhakti to Krishna. He was meditating on Krishna, as Narad had instructed him to do. So even the bhakti of the jnanis has to be there for them to achieve their desired destination. If one wants mukti or moksha, one has to have the fragrance of devotion to Bhagavan mixed with that gyan. Then he can attain that shantaras in the Brahmajyoti. Those persons who want to go to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is practically like a glorified, liberated condition. Sarupya, Salokya, Saropya, Samipya, Sharsti. These four liberations are there in Vaikuntha. So only those devotees who want unalloyed service to Sri Krishna can be elevated to Goloka Vrindavan, to want to please Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what we're hearing about. 891.
E premera anurupa na pare bajite ateva rini hoy kahe bhagavate.
If, according to my vow, I cannot fully reciprocate with someone who does bhajan of me, then I become indebted to him. This is stated by Shri Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. Reciprocating with someone's bhajan means that when a devotee performs devotional service with a particular motive, then Sri Krishna fulfills that desire. This is known as Sri Krishna reciprocating with his devotees' bhajan. My Gurudev often used to say, when you're circumambulating Giriraj Govardhan, that Krishna is running behind to listen to your desires, ready to fulfill your desires of his devotees. So we should be very cautious about our various material desires, be conscious of them. My Gurudev used to say regularly, 5 times a day, you can fine-tune your desired destination. We may wake in the morning and desire a certain goal, and then it becomes somewhat compromised perhaps in the day, and we have another goal, and so on and so on. We should be constantly looking at our compass, so to speak. Where am I going? What is the purpose of my life? What is the mood with which I want to please Sri Krishna? This is what we're hearing about. This is what we're hearing about. However, Sri Krishna cannot reciprocate with both types of devotee. I'll just read that again. Another type of befitting reciprocation is where in whatever bhav one wishes to please Sri Krishna, he makes every effort to satisfy that devotee. Krishna is full of karunamayi, this compassion mood. However, Sri Krishna cannot reciprocate with both types of devotee, and considering that the perfected gopis do not have even the slightest scent of desire for their own enjoyment, what is the question of Sri Krishna reciprocating by bestowing great happiness upon them? They only wish to give happiness and pleasure to Sri Krishna. It's described that if Krishna offers them any type of benediction, they will just say they want the benediction to serve him more fully, to please him more. This is their only desire. If Sri Krishna wishes to fulfill their desire, then he alone receives happiness by doing that. He receives happiness by doing that. The gopis of Braj have completely abandoned everything to offer their whole selves to Sri Krishna. However, Sri Krishna can never abandon any number of gopis for a single gopi. What to speak of many gopis? He cannot even abandon one of his ordinary devotees. Thus, he cannot reciprocate with the service of the gopis. Sri Krishna himself has accepted this fact in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22.
892 Na parayeham niravadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibudhayu sapi vaha ya ma bhajan durjarageha shrinkalaha samvrichya tadvaha pratiyatu sadhuna.
My darling gopis, your meeting me is innocent and immaculate. Immaculate, this niravadya, in every respect, because it is devoid of even a single iota of desire for your own happiness. It is overflowing with supremely pure love. Although the bonds of affection for the members of one's own home are impossible to overcome, you have completely demolished them. Thus, for loving service to me, you have transgressed the moral laws of this world. Even if I lived as long as the gods, I would be unable to requite even one drop of your love, sacrifice, and service. All of you may free me from debt simply by your own gentle nature, but I am forever the debtor of your prema and will always continue to be. So, of course, this is spoken after the gopis have sung their Gopi Gita, their lament in devastated separation. They've found Sri Radha, and now they've come to the bank of the Jamuna, the beautiful, clean, pristine, washed bank of the Jamuna, and they've sung their Gopi Gita, Jayati Tedikam Janmana Vraja. And at the end of this Gopi Gita, then finally, Krishna appears, as we're going to hear shortly. And he says this verse to them, Na pariyeham niravadya samyujam. And this melts the gopis' hearts that Krishna should say like this. Because actually they began to harbor some misgivings towards Krishna, which will be explained in a minute. The quality that makes this Kanta Prem the most excellent is that only in this ras has Sri Krishna allowed himself to fall into debt. This Prem Madhuri of the gopis is the axle, and Sri Krishna is the wheel upon that axle, resting and rotating upon that central object. If one removes the axle or the gopis from the wheel, Sri Krishna, then he becomes nirvishesh, or featureless, impersonal, in the sense that he can do nothing. The sentiments of the gopis are the cause of the increase in Krishna's beauty. So we understand from Radha Tattva how Krishna is completely independent, svatantrata. He's totally has free will, sva-icha mayata. He has these qualities himself. He's completely atmaram aptakam. And yet, Radha Tattva, Shakti Tattva, is resting on him. So this is the example. If that Radha Tattva is not there, where is Krishna's increased bliss going to manifest? Krishna's already in bliss, but his increased bliss, because the nature of prem, it must be ecstatic, not static. It would be somewhat static, like Nirvishesh Brahm. If that Shakti Tattva was not manifesting as the gopis to increase Krishna's bliss. So this is the position of the gopis. They are the manifestation. They're all manifesting from Sri Radha's Kaya Vyuha. We said this a number of times. So every atom of the gopis' existence contains the same desire, the same ingredient as Sri Radhika's, just to satisfy Krishna's calm, to please Krishna. They all have the same nature, their desire to please Krishna. Why and when did Sri Krishna become indebted to the gopis? The reply is that when Rasa Leela was going on, the other gopis developed pride in their own good fortune, and the daughter of Sri Vrishabhana Maharaj, Sri Radha, became sulky. To establish in this world the super excellence of Sri Radhika's mood of separation, and also in order for Sri Krishna to directly taste and hear the nectar of Sri Radha and the other gopis, talks in separation from him, he disappeared from the Ras Leela. There are so many reasons why he disappeared, but my Gurudev is giving this reason at this point. We described previously how the Ras Leela wasn't complete without putting Sri Radhika firmly in the center, and without purifying the idea of all the different groups of gopis, Swapaksh, Vipaksh, Tatast, and Surit. They all had to come under the one umbrella of wanting to glorify Sri Radhika, which through the process of Radhika leaving and then the gopis finding her, they all acknowledged the supremacy of her separation mood. So that was all manifested by Krishna and Radhika's desire. The gopis, absorbed in their moods of separation from Krishna, began inquiring about him from the trees, creepers, tulsi, and the Jamuna, but they received no reply from them. Suddenly they saw Krishna's footprints, and with them the footprints of a young girl. The other gopis began to extol the good fortune of that particular gopi, who was alone with Sri Krishna. They began to follow the footprints until they encountered Sri Radha lying upon the ground, unconscious in separation from Sri Krishna, looking like a golden doll. This is what I've just described. The other gopis pacified her. After this, all the gopis gathered together on the banks of the river Jamuna in like-minded groups, and while weeping, they began kirtan in like-minded groups. Now they're all on the same page. All the camps and groups of the gopis, they're all collectively harmonious in their glorification of Radhika as the center. This is what Krishna wanted to accomplish. The other gopis pacified her. when they found Sri Radhika. Even Chandravali was amazed at the height of Radhika's prem. After this, all the gopis gathered together on the banks of the river Jamuna in like-minded groups, and while weeping, they began kirtan. This singing of the gopis is known as the Gopi Geet. Upon hearing this song, Sri Krishna could not check himself and came into their presence. And that's when he speaks this verse, Na paryeham nirabadya. All the gopis took their veils, which were covered with kumkum from their breasts, and laying them upon the ground, they prepared a seat for him, on which he was seated. My Gurudev describes, they actually made many seats, because Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described in his commentary, there were as many as 3 billion gopis. 3 billion gopis. So these veils are very, very thin. And because so many of them mounted up, veil after veil, it became like a beautiful heart seat of the gopis. So they offered these veiled seats to Krishna. So he sits down in their presence, and they're all close to him. 300 billion. We can't even imagine a million people. Practically, it's hard for us to understand 10,000 people. What to speak, of 300 million. But this is the dynamic at this time. It's all achintya, because it was 300 billion gopis. They would have 300 billion brothers also. And they had their parents, mother and father. So what's that? We're looking at 1,200 billion populace in a little village of Braj. Inconceivable. The gopis, being situated in Madhurya Ras, proceeded to ask Sri Samasunda a variety of questions, and he cleverly answered all of them. But those questions that were completely overflowing with prem, Sri Krishna could not answer, and he became eternally indebted to the gopis. So the gopis asked 3 questions. We should know this pastime. They asked 3 questions. They asked Krishna, if someone is loving someone else with the expectation of getting something from them, they will only love someone if they expect a reciprocal reward from that person in some way or other, either their own aggrandizement or some monetary reciprocal or something. They're thinking to get something in return. They have some expectation. So they're asking Krishna, they want to ask Krishna, what is your nature of love? So this is the first, that person who is loving, expecting some reciprocation. And then the second is those who love, but without expecting any type of reciprocation. Even if someone is inimical towards them, they will still love them. The example of this is parents. Parents will love their children regardless of how difficult a time sometimes they can give them. So this is without any expectation. And then there's the third type of person who, even if someone loves them, they don't reciprocate with them. They completely remain neutral. So Krishna, they ask Krishna, what type of personality are you? And Krishna replies that the first type of person that you've mentioned, these are selfish people. It's not true love at all. This is selfish. They're looking for something to be rewarded to them by their offering of affection to someone. So we can examine ourselves in our relationships, these 3. Then the second type, Krishna says, yes, this is dharma. If you perform this loving service with no expectation, no reciprocation, still you will continue to love. And then the third type, Krishna says, yes, this is like the yogis. They are in their higher state of liberated bliss, and they don't extend themselves in a loving manner sometimes. So this is the third type. And Krishna responds, I am none of these. None of these refer to me. Then he says very beautifully, I left you because I wanted to increase, I wanted to intensify the love in your hearts. This is why I separated from you. So Krishna is saying, my dear girls, I'm quoting now from the 21st verse of the 32nd chapter. This is the verse after Krishna has returned. Krishna has just returned. So he's saying to them, my dear girls, understanding that simply for my sake you had rejected the authority of worldly opinion of the Vedas and other relatives, and of your relatives, I acted as I did only to increase your attachment to me. Even when I removed myself from your sight by suddenly disappearing, you never stopped loving me. Therefore, my beloved gopis, please do not harbor any bad feelings towards me, your beloved. So in the next verse, in the next chapter, then there's a beautiful description here. In the first verse, Shukadeva Goswami is saying that when the cowherd girls heard the Supreme Personality of Godhead speak these most charming words, they forgot their distress caused by separation from him. Touching his transcendental limbs, they felt all their desires fulfilled. So this is the example of Krishna's utter compassion and selfless nature. He satisfied the gopis completely, even though they were bereft for so long in that separation mood. And they, in a sense, challenged him by asking him these three types of love. What type of love are you? And then Krishna responds, I left you to intensify your praying. And then it's describing, actually, while he was saying this is the verse I meant to read. It's saying, yes, after that, then he says this Naparyeham Niravadya. And it's described that the gopis were looking at each other while Krishna was describing like this, and already they were immediately feeling some intensity increasing of their attraction to Krishna. Just as he began to practically apologize to them like this, he pacified them totally. It's a very beautiful, beautiful conversation, because immediately after this, there on the Jamuna's banks, Lord Govinda then began the pastime of the rasa dance in the company of those jewels among women, the faithful gopis who joyfully linked their arms together. So this is the mood that my Gurudev is discussing here. So where did we? Oh, my Gurudev's commentary. Our most worshipful Goswamis mention that not even the eulogies composed by Lord Brahma can give him the joy he experienced in becoming indebted to the gopis. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's created a situation where he's so submissive to the gopis, he's indebted to them. He can't give them anything because all they will ask for is increased service to him. At certain opportune instances, Sri Krishna has released himself from his indebtedness to the devotees of all the other rasas. But when he attempted to free himself from his debt to the gopis in Madhurya Ras, he became even more indebted. More indebted, yes.
893. Yadyapi Saundarya Krishna Madhuryera Dhurya Braja Devira Sangetar Badaya Madhurya.
Although Sri Krishna represents the ultimate limit of unparalleled beauty and sweetness, still in the association of the Braja Gopis, his beauty and sweetness increased ad infinitum. So my Gurudev comments, although Sri Krishna's beauty and sweetness upon reaching their utmost limit had no opportunity for increasing any further, whenever the gopis and Krishna see one another, his beauty and sweetness repeatedly increase. This sweetness contains such inconceivable and astonishing power that when the gopis encounter his beauty and sweetness, they become filled with joy. And when Sri Krishna sees their joyful happiness, then he becomes exceedingly pleased. Sri Krishna understands that he is giving happiness to the gopis, and the gopis become joyful because they know that their service is giving him happiness. In this mutual dealing of pleasing one another, there exists an eternal rivalry. How amazing. Okay, 894.
894. Tatrasi subhe, tatrasi susubhe, tabir bhagavan devaki sutaha, madhye maninam harimanam maha marakato yatha.
In the midst, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-6. This is the last chapter of the Rasa Lila, Rasa Panchadiya. In the midst of the dancing gopis, Bhagavan Sri Krishna appears most beautiful, like an exquisite sapphire in the midst of golden ornaments. Haimanam, looking like a jewel encrusted in a golden necklace. Maha Marakata, a brilliant blue sapphire. Marakata, a brilliant blue sapphire. The gopis resemble golden beads, and Sri Krishna, due to his dark bodily effulgence, appears like a blue sapphire. Madhye maninam yata. As a blue sapphire appears beautiful when set in a golden necklace, so the sapphire-like Sri Krishna is exquisite when surrounded by the golden ornament like gopis. Tatra Shushubhi. While Maharas was going on, both Sri Krishna surrounded by the gopis and the gopis surrounded by Sri Krishna appeared extraordinarily beautiful. In fact, Sri Krishna's natural beauty and sweetness were unparalleled, but being in the presence of his special associates, his beauty and sweetness increased. Only amidst the beauty of the gopis does he reveal the summit of his beauty and sweetness. So now we're getting to the core of the answer that Mahaprabhu is seeking. This must be the highest ultimate truth. When Sri Krishna went to Dwarka, he experienced complete absorption in the emotions of Braj and went mad. When Lord Brahma saw him in this condition, he created another Vrindavan named Nava Vrindavan to revive him from his internal state. While he was in Nava Vrindavan, he looked upon the statue of the daughter of Sri Vrishabhana Maharaj, surrounded by her friends. At that time, his nature as the very charmer of Cupid himself was enhanced even more. When Padma, Kamsa's mother, saw this form, she could not check herself, and in Kantabhav, she ran towards Sri Krishna. Finally, Mother Rohini caught hold of her. This Padma, she's like, the little puggly, little not balanced. Mother of Kamsa. She was actually attacked by a demon to give birth to Kamsa, her son. She's the wife of Ugrasen. This is the wife of the king, Ugrasen. But she's always previously complaining about the Brijbasis, because the Brijbasis kept Krishna in their presence for so long. Finally, Mother Rohini caught hold of her. Bhagavan, you can say.
Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasashasriyaha jnana vairagya yo chaiva sannam bhaga itingana.
Sri Bhagavan is the supreme truth, Paramatattva, who is fully endowed with 6 inconceivable qualities: complete wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Commentary. Regarding the incarnations, some are portions of Karnadakshayi Mahavishnu, Vishnu lying on the causal ocean, and others are empowered incarnations. According to Srimad Bhagavad Gita 4:7,
Yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्.
O Bharat, whenever there is decline in religious practice and an increase of irreligion, I personally descend. The incarnations of Bhagavan appear in every millennium, yuga, in order to protect the earth when it is oppressed by the demons. Even Mahavishnu, who is the root of all these incarnations and the origin of the other Purusha avatars, is but a plenary portion of Brajendra Nandan Sri Krishna. This is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mrudayanti Yuge Yuge.
This is from the first canto, 3rd chapter, 28th verse. At this point, a question may arise. When the Rasa Leela is saturated with unlimited sweetness, why has the word Bhagavan, which denotes opulence, been used here? Tatrati Shushubi, Tobir Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. The recollection comes by understanding that there were many different types of listeners in the assembly of Sri Parikshit Maharaj. There were karmis, jnanis, yogis, tapasvis, ascetics, or performers of various types of austerities, devotees of mixed moods, and pure devotees, in order that those seated at this gathering would not think Sri Krishna to be an ordinary mortal and his pastimes, associates, and holy abode to be in any way mundane. The word Bhagavan has been used. It is only Bhagavan himself who may enact pastimes such as these. So this word Bhagavan had to be used in order to pacify the various karmis, jnanis, yogis, etc., who were listening to this conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit. Unless Bhagavan is respectfully addressed, the karmis and jnanis, they won't appreciate this Braja Ras because they were not sufficiently educated in, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not manifest to bestow this Braja Ras on the populace of the world. Here, our worshipful Goswamis have presented the additional Siddhanta that it is not possible for Bhagavan to perform any pastime without the foundation of Aishwarya opulence. So this is going to be interesting. It is never possible for Sri Krishna to divest himself of his opulence in any condition. However, because of excessive sweetness or the profuse overflowing of that Madhurya in the pastimes of Braj, the Aishwarya becomes integrated into Madhurya. In other words, the Aishwarya is still there. Thus, in order to temper or pacify unqualified persons, opulence is sometimes shown, but then it immediately becomes hidden once more, just as a blade of grass in a large pot of boiling milk may be seen for a moment before again being submerged in the unlimited ocean of sweetness. So that Aishwarya is there in more quantity than it is in Dwarka or Mathura. But because of the immensity of the quantity of Madhurya, it becomes submerged in that. So this is how we are always understanding this opulence, Aishwarya, in Braj. Devaki Sutta, it is definitely incorrect to take this word as an indication that Krishna, who is performing the Ras Leela, is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Here, Sri Sukadeva Goswami is actually indicating the son of Yashoda. In his commentary, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur has also directly explained that another name of Yashoda was Devaki. Evidence of this is found in the Brihat Vishnu Purana.
Dve namni Nanda Bharyaya Yashoda Devaki iti cha Atasakyam Abhutasya Devakya Shauri Jayaya.
The wife of Nanda had two names, Yashoda and also Devaki. Because of their natural friendship, she, the wife of Nanda, and Devaki, the wife of Sori, Vasudeva, share the same name. So remember this. Sometimes it's referring to Krishna as being the son of Devaki, but that doesn't mean Devaki in Mathura. This is definitely referring to Mother Yashoda. Only one Krishna danced with countless millions of gopis, assuming many forms as there were gopis. It is also stated that Sri Krishna danced with such velocity that just as the whirling of a burning torch is complete in a complete circle gives the appearance of an unbroken circle of fire, he appeared simultaneously at the side of each of the countless gopis, which is remarkable because he was adjusting their dresses, wiping the perspiration from them, sometimes tying their anklet together. He was touching them, embracing them, and so on. At the same time, it's only one swirling around. Otherwise, it would break the idea of if Krishna expanded, that would put the whole Ras Leela into an Aishwarya conception, which it's not. It's fully Madhurya. But Krishna has the achintya ability to spin around so fast, simultaneously interacting as if he was there with each gopi at the same time for the performance of the rasa. So this is Krishna's opulence. At the same time, it's being covered by Madhurya.
895 Prabhu kahe ye sadhyavadi sunischaya kripa kori kaha yadi aage kichu hai.
Srimad Mahaprabhu replied, this conclusion that Kanta Prem is certainly the highest limit of perfection is incontrovertible. However, Sri Rai, please speak more if there is something else. So he's reached the limit, but now he's asking Raya Ramananda if there's anything more.
896 Rai kahe ihar aage puche hen jane etadina nahi jani achaya bhuvane.
I think that word incontrovertible should be inconceivable. Would have been a better word there. Sri Raya Ramananda replied, until this day, I did not know anyone within the three worlds who could inquire beyond this. So understand what sort of gifts we're getting from this Raya Ramananda Sangbad. Raya Ramananda himself, who is so versed in the precepts of Ras Tattva, Siddhanta, etc., can't imagine something beyond this. So this is very clear that Mahaprabhu is empowering Raya Ramananda like a puppet and wanting to hear these truths spoken back to him for our sake today. We are hearing these truths today. This was the gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu knew these truths. This Sangvad would be extensively spoken down the ages in Kali Yuga. And he deliberately is setting this trail, this track of subsequent steps leading to ultimately glorification of the Sakhis, of Sakhi Prem, Gopi Prem. This is what we're hearing, Gopi Prem. It's not going to include Manjari Prem. Manjari Prem will be described by the Acharyas after this. But Mahaprabhu himself, he wanted to experience and wake up this Sakhi Prem within himself. He's carrying that potential of that Sakhi Prem of Sri Radha himself. And none other than Vishaka was able to do that so gloriously. So this is the intention of these descriptions, bringing us to this highest appreciation of Sakhi Prem. These gopis who had left everything to come to the service of Sri, and how Krishna is reciprocating with them. So this is the topmost. This is the ultimate truth of all reality. And this is ultimately what this whole Ramananda Rai Sangvad is about. And our Bhaktivedanta Swami, he writes that beautiful title of this book is The Search of the Ultimate Goal of Life. The ultimate goal of life means the highest possible conception. So this is what we're hearing. So Raya Ramananda Sangvad Ki Jai. Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvebhya, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.